We are live from Boca Raton, Florida. Spiritual Sunday.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.
We were talking here before we started about reincarnation. So those of you who have a Zohar, right? If you have this Zohar, or you have any of them, volume 10, the first verse of the section of Mishpatim, these are the rules of reincarnation. So if you don't believe, I ask you, don't dismiss it. Investigate, look into it, see how it makes the world seem fair, cause and effect. If you believe in it, then start learning more of the details so you'll be motivated to make sure that what you set out in motion is going to be what you want to come back to you. Because that's what cause and effect means. What we set in motion finds a way all around the universe and comes right back to us. As we'll talk about today, maybe when you least expect it. So let's do our affirmation together, strengthening our consciousness that the light is everything. We say together, consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. All. Okay. So let's just get started. So I want to talk about, if you saw the title, basically there's three experiences that people have in life that I guess it's the essence of everything that goes on. Three. First one is a test. We have a test in life, right? We all get tested one way or another. It's checking on how we're doing, in our case, on their spiritual path. What kind of person are you? Do you really believe in what you say you believe? Right? For example, what if you have a friend, a partner, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call them, and one day they go out, they call you up and say, hey, an old friend called me up. I'm going out to dinner, lunch, breakfast, coffee, something or other. What goes through your mind? Do you trust them or not? Do you start to get jealous or not? That's the test, right? Oh, juicy one. Somebody walks out of the office as you've just walked in and says, wow, such juicy gossip they just said. Do you run in to hear the gossip or do you stay away from it? Is another test. All right? So we have tests in life like that. Even good things. How generous are you? Well, let's see. So you win the lottery. Are you giving your 10%, your tithing, or do you keep it all for yourself because who knows what you want to buy or what you want to keep or, what things like that? It's also a test. Doesn't have to be a bad thing. You get a promotion. Wow, is it going to be ego? Look how good I am. I work so hard. I made the effort. They're giving me more responsibility, more money. Or do you think, how can I use the more power that I've got or my more resources to help people? So we all have tests like that. Then comes challenges. What are challenges? The things that jump at us unexpectedly. Right? You're walking down the street, on your way to the store, on your way to the park, you're on your way to walk your dog. Everything's hunky-dory, and all of a sudden something happens. Another dog comes to seem to attack, right out of nowhere. Or a car starts to veer off the road and looks like it's coming up the sidewalk where a person's standing. Certain things like that, right? Challenges. You didn't walk down the street and say, let's see, what's going to challenge me today? No, it's basically, we assume they're unexpected, things that just jump at us. And then there's the ones we would all like to have. Miracles. So there was one I heard talking about jumping off the street. Years ago, when I was in LA, I guess I can say it, Rodeo Drive. Oh, right. So I had two students, or actually it was a student and her nephew. They were, shopping and on Rodeo Drive, and then they hit a cafe. So they say, you know what, let's sit. They had a nice table out by the, on the sidewalk, whatever. We'll sit, we'll have a cup of coffee, whatever. They're sitting there. And all of a sudden, the nephew looks and says, oh, look what I see in the store. Let's go. And literally, just as they stood up, a car lost control, went up on the sidewalk, and guess where it ran over? The table they were just sitting at. So you call those things a miracle, right? Somebody that you hear about on their deathbed, doctors giving them no hope, that's it, finished. The priest, rabbi, minister, whoever, giving them the last rites. And in the morning, suddenly, whoosh, miraculously, they're healed, right? Big miracles. So think about it. What other things do we have in life? Tests, challenges, and miracles. One of the three. One of the three. Even you go to work. Oh, I know, because I can hear your voice or that voice. Well, what about just the usual stuff? Go to work, everything's fine, drive down the street. I get up in the morning, I have my coffee, I have my breakfast, I go to work, I drive to work, everything looks okay. Where's the test in that? So just remember, because when I explain them, then you'll see what the test in that is. And if I don't, remind me, and I'll let you know. So what are these things Kabbalistically? What do they all have in common? So without going into all the Hebrew derivation, but they all rooted in one word, nes, lanus, to elevate, to elevate. So whether it's a test, a challenge, or a miracle, they're meant Kabbalistically for us to be able to elevate our consciousness. Because consciousness is everything. I'm here to raise my consciousness. What does that mean? Elevate my consciousness. So then these things, these ways and means, the test, the challenge, and the miracles, ultimately are to raise our consciousness, to make us reveal more of our pure and perfect light beingness. Because we all come here to understand our soul is already full of light. We're already pure beings of light. The only thing we're missing is letting it shine out. That's all. It's covered up with the curtains we call anger, fear, jealousy, ego, insecurity, whatever. So you take away the curtain, the light shines. Not such a hard concept. But the illusion comes in and we tend to see, well, a test is one thing, we have our definition for test. Challenge is something else, we have a definition for that. But miracles, ooh la la. How many times, even that, okay, a miracle. Person fall, where did I just read? Somebody put something on from like the 70s or 80s, one of these planes that crashed, and the only survivor was like a 13-year-old girl who fell strapped, bless you, strapped in her seatbelt in the chair, and the thing fell, and somehow she survived, and 21 days till she was picked up or rescued or whatever it was. You say a miracle. But what about the people that you have somebody, an acquaintance for years and years and years, and before Kabbalah, okay, we'll give it that, we condition it on that. Before Kabbalah, you have a little judgment on there. Oh, what an arrogant person, what an arrogant person, what an arrogant person. And one day you're at a social event, you go, oh my God, there's the arrogant person. But now you start to watch them, and all of a sudden they're acting the opposite. You say, wow, what a miraculous transformation. They're no longer arrogant, they're no longer jealous, they're no longer greedy, whatever it is that you judge them for. So that's also a miraculous transformation, is it not? So then we may look at them differently. The Kabbalists say, no, they're all the same thing. As we've talked about very clearly, what was it now, 4 or 5 weeks ago, the universe is a singularity. We move in one direction, there's only one light force, there's only one purpose of this world, there's only one soul in the universe, there's only one direction to go, all the singularity. So then the same way, these are also singular, but we will tend to see them differently. So then let's look at them a little more deeply. So what's a test? Why is something a test? Why is something a test for us? Yeah, but why is it a test?
To see the strength of the character.
No, think about why. Why would we define it as a test?
To get to the next level.
Because we need to correct.
Yeah, exactly. It's not something we do automatically. Do you think when you take a step, you're walking, one step, is that a test really? No, because you just assume, of course I can walk, right? But a person, let's say, who injured themselves, and now they're going through physical therapy, now in essence it's a test of their perseverance, a test of, regrowing or restoring that movement. So then each step, why is it a test? Because it's something difficult. It's not something that comes easily. It's something they got to draw from another level within them. in one way or another, whether it's another thought, an idea, something physical. But that's what a test is, where we're drawing within us. So if we're drawing within us, it's helping to elevate us. Is it not? Ideally, we move to our next level. If we think we're just walking, you don't think, wow, I walked from my car here in the parking lot into the room here for Spiritual Sunday. Wow, did I pass the test? We don't think that way. You just assume, I can walk, I'm coming in. Hopefully be inspired, look forward to meeting the friends here and what goes on here. But we don't think of it as a test, so we don't really then, even that way, and maybe I should throw that out there for you, means nothing changed. From how you walked from the car into this room, if you didn't have, as we'll talk about it here later, if you didn't have a new thought, then you left the car, entered the room the same. Now, hopefully something that we'll say here, right, will help elevate us to a next level, at least thought, so we'll strive to act in a higher way. But, okay, let's save that, because, all right. So challenge. Why are things challenges? Something comes to us, it's a challenge. Like I said, with a car that ran off the lost control or whatever it may be, what makes something a challenge? When we are unexpecting, it's not expected, we're not looking for it, and what's the challenge really? Something I want to add or something I want to take away. I want something to happen so it takes away this uncomfortable challenge, right? Or I want to put something in. Well, I said that. You either want to put something in that makes it go, or take something out that was challenging. You have a person who comes and taunting you and tempting you and needling you and this and that, right? You say, oh, challenging person. I want to get rid of them. So you either get rid of them or you get rid of yourself from them, right? Or there's a challenge that, oh my God, I forgot XYZ and I had the thought I should have taken and I didn't. So now you want something. The challenge is where you're going to find it or how you're going to replace it in one way or another. So what's a common factor? You have to draw from something that's not there. You've got to elevate your consciousness, elevate your thinking. You've got to, again, rise to the occasion. Don't we say that? When a challenge comes, I rise to the occasion. Means what? You were looking to just be on one level, easy, this and this, but something happens and suddenly you rise to the occasion. Right? Okay, so there's the challenge. Oh, okay. So here's some examples I wrote. Asking for a great relationship. Challenging, no? So we just want the person to walk in, like you see in the movies. Walks in, he or she, radiated, you can see the glow. You know how they do it like that way? Ooh, and you go, oh, that's the one. But what's the challenge that we end up getting 99.9% of the time? We are challenged. You want a better relationship? We are challenged to be more loving, more forgiving, more tolerant, more caring, right? Challenge. You want prosperity. So you take out your Zohar, those of you who know, you're meditating on prosperity, scanning Miketz, the section for prosperity, and then the business takes a nosedive. Challenge. What do? Again, it's giving us an opportunity to draw something from within, to overcome the illusion of what just took place. In general, you want a blessing. So think about it, especially those of you who are newer to this. You want a blessing. We always talk about our soul is filled with light, so there's nothing to get. The thing that's missing is letting our soul's light out into the world. So when we say, I'm asking for more blessing, give me more blessing, give me a better day, whatever it may be, what has to show up? Where is that blessing actually existing?
Within ourselves.
We got to let it out. So when you look at your life, there's the challenge because the light is hiding in the darkness. Light can't hide in the light. So if we're missing the revelation of light, it's hiding in the darkness, behind our curtains of fear or jealousy or insecurity or guilt or shame, or any of those things. We put the curtain. So again, we ask for blessings and the universe brings us. It's just hiding behind that curtain. It's in the dark. It's hiding in the dark. Our job is to extract it out of the darkness. Of course, then there's miracles. How does a miracle elevate us? If we understand everything is cause and effect. Everything. So when we think miracle, we think, oh, extraordinary, supernatural, superhuman, beyond the laws of science, right? Okay, please forgive me if you're new to this and you're related in science, but look back 50 years ago. Did science believe everything that it believes today? No, right? Suddenly there were discoveries. Cell phone. When you were growing up, did you really believe there was such a thing as a cell phone? No, can't be. Bless you. Science fiction, all of that, right? Star Trek. Shh. Scotty, beam me up. Now you got a cell phone. So what happened to science? They came to discover things. They came to uncover the laws of the universe so that they could put the cell phone together. But the raw material and the laws of science that make a cell phone, when did it begin? When did it come into existence? Everything that ultimately makes this. 14.5 billion years ago, which is when the Kabbalists calculated, was the Big Bang. Because there's nothing here that didn't already exist in one way or another. They may have reshaped it or something like that. Of course, they had to uncover the laws of science, the laws of the universe, to be able to put it together, to make such a thing technologically, but it's been in existence 14.5 billion years. So a miracle, it just means it's beyond what we see. But how do people get a miracle? By the same way, if it's cause and effect. If a miracle means beyond what we understand, like we just said with science. So how do people create miracles? When you act in a superhuman way, when you act in a supernatural way, when you act in your extraordinary way, then you automatically create miracles. Why? Because like you were saying before with the arrogant person, somehow that arrogant person came to either feel the pain of their arrogance, realize they were disadvantaging themselves, something, and one day they decided, with arrogance, let me act with kindness, tolerance, humility, things like that. And you say, wow, miracle. Yeah, but who created it? They did, by acting against their nature of arrogance, by transcending their nature of arrogance, by being superhuman over their human tendency and habit to be arrogant. Now suddenly they're humble. It's a miracle. A miracle just means we may not always see the cause and effect, but doesn't mean there's not a cause and effect. So again, it goes back to our trusting in the light and then doing what's necessary. Our trusting that the system of the light is true and beneficial. So we will stop doing the things that are against the positive laws of the universe. Simple. Simple. We're reading yesterday the section in the Bible, what they call the 10 Commandments, we call the 10 utterances. So people have misconstrued them. If you listen to any of the classes in the Kabbalah Center about those 10 utterances, we will often say, the purpose of Mount Sinai was not to create a religion, any religion. It was not to create even a spiritual system. It was simply to give us the understanding of the laws of the universe. So when it says, thou shalt not steal, what the Kabbalists say, it doesn't just mean like we'd say a civil law. You know, you're not allowed to steal. You'll go to jail if you get caught stealing. That's not the point. What it really says, no human being on earth is able to steal. I know, I can hear, yeah, but look at all the crimes. People stealing, they get caught, some don't get caught. This is, what do you mean there's no stealing? Or you're thinking of something about yourself. Somebody stole from you. So what do you mean there's no such thing as stealing? Everything that belongs to me, that's implanted in my soul, is just waiting to show up out there. Nobody can take it. They can take the physicality. But like I learned from my teachers, the Rav and Karen, if you hold on to the spiritual energy inside your car or your house or the money or whatever it is you've got, nobody can steal it. Even if they take the physical. The Rav used to say, somebody steals a stereo. Well, if you were really connected to the light in that stereo, they didn't steal the 99%, we call it, of the light of that stereo. They took the 1%, the physical material. But if you're holding on to the light is what brought the stereo into existence anyway. So if you're holding the light, either a better stereo will come in, the guy will get caught, it'll get returned to you, or something that makes you equally as happy and satisfied will show up again. Because like attracts like. So as long as you hold on to the light, it's going to come back to you one way or another. So nobody can steal your light. Nobody can steal from you. We can believe, and in essence, extend the time of the return of those things by giving up even our connection to the light that, let's say, was in the stereo. Yeah, okay, but somewhere along the line, it's still the light in my soul. It's still the light that belongs to me. So even if I thought I extended it out there or somebody took it from me or whatever, somewhere, somehow, it's got to come back to me because the Creator gave each of us 100%. And you can't fulfill your destiny in this world unless you have 100%. So one way or another, it's got to come back. So this is what we're talking about. Test, challenge, or miracle. One way or another, it's coming back to give us the opportunity. So then when we behave supernatural, that's when miracles will happen relative to us. It doesn't mean, okay, my Libra is kicking in. Yes, when you read about the great Kabbalists, they could walk through walls, they could manifest gold coins out of the air, they could do those things. We'd say, wow, miracle, I wish I could do that. So why didn't they do it? The first time I heard the story of Rabbi Shimon, filling basically a valley with gold coins, I'm thinking, wow, why aren't we doing that? Fill it with gold coins, think how fast we could spread the Zohar all over the world, finish all the pain and suffering. No, but then it took me a little hard-headed sometimes, but it took me a few years to understand really why he didn't do that. Why, whatever the Rav and Karen could do, whatever Rav Ashlag, Rav Brandwein could do, whatever the great Kabbalists, they could do things like that. The Baal Shem Tov said the same thing. He lived in, as we would call it, hand to mouth, let's say, of his own choice. Not that he didn't have, but he wasn't looking to accumulate things. So one day, one of his family members complaining to him, they had to pay the bill. They were buying things on credit. And so the Baal Shem Tov said, look, and he went into a whole explanation, but he said, if I wanted, I would turn that stove, right? Figure back in the 70s, he said, I'd turn that stove into gold and we could have all the money. And I'm thinking, so why didn't you do it? No, because that's not the point. How many people do you know, just let's make it very clear. What do you call a spoiled person? What does it mean they're spoiled? They get everything they want, and if they don't get what they want, now they're complaining. So, yeah, they have a tantrum. So are they really expressing their pure light nature? Are they really expressing the piece of the Creator, the DNA of the Creator inside them? No. So if you keep giving and giving and giving them, what are they creating? And tell me you've never heard of those stories, or maybe you've experienced it. You know parents who gave their parents went through the Holocaust, they went through the Depression, they went through some terrible experiences, so they want to give their kids everything so they don't have to suffer like that. And when the kids are 25, 30, they hate the parents, they don't talk to them. Everyone looking, why? All I did was give them everything they want. Go back to Kabbalah 1, it's called bread of shame. Dissimilarity of form, right? They didn't act like the light in order to get those blessings. They were acting the opposite. Give me, give me, give me. Well, give me is not the same as sharing. The light shares 24/7, even physical light. You turn on a light source, you turn on a candle. Does the candle flame ever just go into itself? Say, no, you know what? I don't like you. I don't want to share my light with you. You light the candle, it goes out 24/7. Because that's the nature of light. That's the nature of our soul. It's supposed to shine all the time. So when a person not shining their light, we call them spoiled. Self-centered, that's where the arrogance and the anger and the jealousy and the ego. You say, oh, what about the insecure person? I mean, poor person, insecure. Who are they thinking about? Give me, give me, give me. Feel sorry for me, pity me. That's it. It's still there. Give me, give me, give me. So it's non-light-like. Non-light-like. So we have to earn. That's why they didn't do that. It says, I'll tell you, if you're new, ask a teacher, go study a little bit, but don't just dismiss what I'm about to say. You read the Bible story. We know Kabbalistically the Bible, the 5 books of Moses, we believe it's true. We believe those people existed. They did what they did. But the deeper meaning, what the Kabbalist teaches, no, you've got to unlock the code. What is the technology in the cosmos that they're showing us so that we can live that technology today, 2023? So it says Moses, nobody higher than Moses, virtually the highest soul that ever came into existence. Talked to God 40 years plus, did everything God asked of him. Put up with millions of us through the desert complaining every day. And then it says, because he made a tiny little mistake, he couldn't walk into the promised land. That's not it. The Kabbalists say, the opposite. He was never disconnected from the light of the Creator and never disconnected for what we call the energy, the spiritual energy of the promised land. He was living in nirvana, utopia, 24/7. So what does it mean he couldn't step into the land of Israel? Because the Kabbalists say, had he walked into that physical area, he would have activated endless light, but because the rest of the world didn't have the proper container to hold that light and reveal it as peace on earth, what would have happened? What happens when you go to Europe and you plug your 110 hair dryer in a 220 outlet? Why? It's electricity. What's the big deal? Yeah, but it's too powerful. So had Moses walked into the land we call the land of Israel, promised land, he would have activated 220 when the rest of the world was only at 50. Would have just destroyed the world and have to start all over again. That's why he didn't go in. This is why the Baal Shem Tov and the great Kabbalists didn't do those things, because people weren't ready. Think now. You and I talk about it, and again, if you're new, ask questions or whatever, but the goal of the center, spread these books, spread these books all around the world till they shine so much light that there's no more darkness in the world. So obviously, there's a certain amount of resources that could make that happen, no? Few $1 billion, we could print enough Zohars, spread it all over the world. Well, today you've got plenty of people who can give billions of dollars and not even flinch. Couldn't do that 50, 60 years ago. So why isn't it happening? So he said, why don't we go to those people and say, just give us enough money. We'll print the Zohar. We'll spread it all over the world. End of all pain, suffering, and death. Same reason. Because if they did it and we're not ready, same thing as the time of Moses, same thing in the time of the Baal Shem Tov, same thing in the time of Rav Ashlag, the founder of the center. If they had done it, just destroy the world because we're 110, they would have brought in the 220. No. So this is what you and I are learning. We have to build our container, step by step, till we can handle that energy. And the purpose of the center, the reason why the Kabbalah Center created was to build a community where enough people could come that the vessel would be worthy of 220 in our metaphor. And then when there's that much light, a critical mass of Zohar in the world, and the light comes, we have the ability to handle it and channel it to the rest of the world. So the world won't be destroyed, but the angel of death will be transformed. Chaos will turn into harmony and order. Darkness will be light. Hatred will be love. And discord will be unified. That's it. It's simple. But you and I have to do the work. If you're listening to this message, or if you've heard this message, or those of you who are listening after the fact, if you're in the earshot of this, it's up to you. You're one of those people who have the great merit to say, okay, let me work, as we'll talk now, test, challenge, miracle, so that I can bring more people energetically. Like attracts like. How did you all show up here? Obviously, there was a first time for all of us. What brought us? You could say, well, this friend introduced me and this and this and this. Okay, for me, it was the same thing. I wouldn't say it was a challenge. It was actually a blessing. I'm on my spiritual path. I was teaching different things. Met a family birthday party. And a cousin that we used to call Crazy David, because he was out in all this wild stuff, business-wise. This Crazy David, one day he looks at me, He knows I'm, into this woo-woo spirituality even before Kabbalah. He says, I'm learning Kabbalah. It's really, and it's, again, coincidental. Doesn't mean random, but 3 months before this, I'd been introduced to just the concept of Kabbalah. Hebrew letters are the DNA of the universe. Kabbalah is the source of all spiritual wisdom, things like this. The rest of what this book that I was reading at the time contained, I couldn't understand. It was like way out there, wasn't practical, but Kabbalah I understood. I said, really? He started to tell me a little about the Kabbalah Center. The first center opened January 1987 in LA. This was March of 87. So he tells me a little about it. I said, really? Kabbalah is teaching that? He says, I think there's an introduction tonight. Again, random, right? No, not random. I said, really? Where is it? So he gives me the number. And of course, if you know LA, I lived in the South Bay. The birthday party I was at in San Fernando Valley, and the center at that time was on Westwood and Olympic. Literally a straight line from where the party was to the center and home. So I call up, they say, 7 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to go investigate. Who was there? Karen. Gave that intro on Sunday night. I was just blown out of the water. And I had been studying studying for 10 years, what they call New Thought, and I'd been teaching for a few years already. She was like, just in 30 minutes, it was like, bam, circuits blown. And then she says, that's right, it's almost this time. I was wondering why it's all coming now. She says, this is Sunday. She says, the Rav is going to be here on a Tuesday, Wednesday night for a 2-night seminar. And it'd been many, many years since I'd walked in. I grew up a Reformed Jew, so it'd been many years since I'd walked even into a temple. She says, the Rav, I had no concept what that meant. But I knew if she was introducing someone else after she blew my mind, this person had to be like way out there. So of course I signed up, took the 2 nights. That's it, start Kabbalah 1. By the middle of Kabbalah 2, I'm moving to New York to be a teacher, and here I am now. But again, coincidence, challenge, whichever you want to look at it, but it was my blessing. And from that, now you look, here we got people all over the world. We have centers all over the world. We have tens of thousands of people learning online. The center has grown and reaching more people. And every flavor of person, whatever you want to call it, because this is technology of the soul. Technology of the soul, singularity. One soul, we're even saying today, test, challenge, miracles, all one thing, just to raise our consciousness. But like you and I, sometimes we need to see them from different points of view to see. Okay, wow. I told you I was in a good mood, but I have to get going fast. So yesterday I had some friends over for Shabbat, okay, Shabbat lunch, and they're looking out the window across the parking lot, to one of the neighbors' cars. And they look and they say, okay, wow, look at this. Bedazzled car. I'm thinking, bedazzled? I saw that car. I didn't see anything like that. So I go to look, because the sun was shining a certain way. One of the little metal strips on the car, you could see it shining with like whatever they call bedazzled, like little designs or something. But the way I saw it up to that point, I didn't see it. I mean, I saw it in the morning, I see it in the evening like this. Just looked like a metal strip on a car. But in the sunshine, you follow a reflection. So test, challenge, miracles in the same way. It's just putting a different spin on things so that maybe one of them will get to us and say, it's an opportunity to elevate. Now you and I are learning that all three are there to elevate. Every situation in our life is there to help us elevate. The issue is if we take advantage of it. That's the key. So then, like we said, letting go. Because each of these things, whether we're in a test, a challenge, or a miracle, and we're going to understand here in a minute how we can make all three of them work for us. But either way, once you've gone through it, you have 2 choices. Stay the same or continue to grow. So like some people, they will get through the challenge. Even you want to say reactively. Somehow they scream and yell, whatever, but now the challenge disappeared for a few moments, right? They got rid of the person, they told them off, whatever it was. Now they can stay the same or they can grow. Even they were reactive, they can, after the fact, say, wait a second, why did that come into my life? Why was that person there? What was the emotion being awakened in me that I had to just knee-jerk response push them out of my life? And then say, you know what? That's not a God-like behavior. That's not like the light. And if I really want all my blessings, I have to act like the light. So let me grow from that challenge even after the fact, even after a person reacted to it. But you and I, even you pause, let's say you're a good Kabbalah student, right? You pause, you act now with greater love, kindness, and compassion. Is that it? Now do you sit back and say, I've arrived? No, if you're not completely blissed out, there's more to go. So you want to keep going and going and going. Yes, be appreciative, be happy that you grew, but don't stop. Don't stop. Okay, let's not go there. Just keep going, all right? That's the point. Just keep going. So elevate and elevate. So now, the bottom line is, it's up to us. We decide. You know, besides the word God, what do we call that energy? We call it the light. We call it God. You have different names for it. But there's also the term the Creator. Right? The Creator created the universe, created humanity, created this, that, and the other thing. So then we are the creations. Even in that way, the Kabbalists teach us we do not create. Think about it. What did you ever create? This world, the only thing we do is form things, shape things. The pages of the book made out of what? Paper. Did we create paper, or did we take trees and reform them into paper? So we don't create anything. The Creator, the universe creates. But we are in charge of what the universe manufactures for us. I'm in charge of what it manufactures for me. You're in charge of what it manufactures for you. So even when those nasty people come our way, somehow this life or a past life, if you want to grow, if you want to just be in your pity party, blame, victimization, go ahead, you blame them. Terrible thing they did, and that's it. And I'm not saying it's a good thing they did. But from our point of view, we decide, maybe in a past life, and I don't want to share it because it is getting late, but I've told you this story. 2,000 years ago, I killed somebody. In this lifetime, so they needled me for 20 years. Needle, criticize, needle, criticize. After I realized that I killed them 2,000 years ago, I thought, oh, thank God, that's all they did to me was needle me in this lifetime. Pennies on the dollar of what I owe. So whatever comes to us, we've manufactured, or we've sent the energy and let the universe manufacture it to us. So that what? We could elevate our consciousness. Out of the mud, out of the negativity, out of the chaos. Who wants to stay in it? You like to stay in dirty, filthy, stinky mud? Because I know some people go, oh, well, there's mud baths. It's a spa and everybody, gets better. No, stinky, dirty, filthy, reviling mud. You like to sit in it? But that's what people do. Blame them, resent them, anger, jealousy, envy. You're sitting in the mud. Stinky spirit, stinky mud. No, you and I are learning, oh my God, I was wondering where the smell came from. So let me go wash myself off. That's it. I don't care. They want to stay in the mud, let them stay in the mud. I'm gone away. That's what we're learning. So how do we do that? Remember, if we're sending energy to the universe and the universe will create or manufacture from that, do you want to put the chaotic energy out there? Because then it can only manufacture chaos. You go to a jeweler, say, look, I want you to make this ring. You got the form of it. And you give them lead. What will the ring be made of? Lead. But then if you scream and yell, why didn't you make it? Why isn't it gold? Well, they tell you, because it gave me lead. You give them lead, you get lead. You give them gold, you get gold. You give the universe chaotic energy from your anger, greed, ego, insecurity, lack, poverty, consciousness. That's what it can manufacture. You give it love, kindness, generosity, tolerance. That's what it'll manufacture. And along the way, because we're 100%, where we hid some of our love, kindness, protection, blessings, prosperity, we hid it in the shell of anger, jealousy, greed, ego. Sometimes that got to come to us. So we can take the shell off and we can reveal it as love, kindness, generosity, compassion, forgiveness, and tolerance. Then we send it out. The universe will manufacture more for us.
What about boundaries?
The boundary is the light. When you're in this room, right? This room is lit up with light. So where's the boundary of darkness? Simple terms. Let's just say at the edge of the walls, right? The darkness could be, like here, the darkness could be on the other side of that wall, but it can't come in this room because the light's on. When a person trying to create boundaries in the usual way, what does it really mean? I'm reactive, they're reactive. I can't stand their reactivity, so I'm going to put a boundary. I'll never see them again. I'll never let them say that. Did you really change? No, you didn't change. So you put a boundary over here. Like here, there's a wall over here, and we lock the doors. We just forgot to lock that door. Someone will come in there. Because our tikkun, we call it, our soul, our energy, will attract. So you try and put a boundary over here, somebody will come this way. You try and stop something over there, they'll come another way. Because the universe will find us. Like attracts like. Nothing stops that. Nothing except the light. The light is the only thing that's protection from darkness. 35 years I'm in the center, I must have heard it 10,000 times. How do you, and I've probably said it here hundreds, you walk in a dark room at night, you walk in your house at night, how do you make the darkness go away? You say, look, it's my house, go away. I'm strong, I'm healthy, I'm this, I'm that. No, how do you make the darkness go away? You turn on the light. The light makes the darkness go away. And I remind you again, no scientist on earth, and if anybody out there knows, I'd like to see it. Because I've asked a rocket scientist, how does light take away darkness? And he told me, we don't know. We know it happens, but they can't tell us scientifically. They can't even define darkness. Tell me what's the definition for darkness? No, I want to hear darkness. You're still talking about light. The absence of light. It's still about the light. Oh, what does it mean, the absence of light? I don't see it. Tell me you never put your glasses or your keys on the table. 2 minutes later, you look at the same table, you don't see it. 30 seconds after you scream and yell, you look back there and there it is. The absence of the keys. No, you didn't see it. Not that the keys weren't there. So darkness is our illusion. Chaos is our illusion. Confusion is our illusion. That's it. You turn on the light, no more chaos. I think I said it last week too. I said it a dozen times this week. Rubik's Cube. Perfect when you buy it. You mix it up like this. For me now it's eternal hell. I know there's a solution, so it's not confusion. You follow? It's not chaos that way because I know there's a way to do it. I just can't do it. So I don't even bother. And thank goodness it's not my life, so it's not such a big deal. But I know people, my kids, like this, and it's back in order. So I know there's an order to everything. So if in my life, for the moment I have that immediate awakening of a little confusion, chaos, or whatever, I pause, I say, no, I know there's a solution because the light is infinite. So there's light here, I just don't see it. Like with the Rubik's Cube, I know there's a system and I see people who know the system and they follow the system and it goes back to perfection. So you and I are learning the system of the soul. It's not a religion, it's not even a spiritual teaching. These are the technology of the soul. That's why it works for everybody. I don't care who you are on the outside past the soul. But the soul is the same and the technology is the same. So we're learning here how to operate that technology and as we'll do that, unite people. So what do we want to do? Oh man, okay. So what do we want to do? We want singularity. So what do we have to do? We're going to combine test, challenge, and miracles into one. How do you do that? So let me give you this. Because we want to speed up our arrival in heaven on earth. Our piece of the heaven on earth. Our piece of the Garden of Eden. Right? Who wants to make it last any longer? You know, wait for more trouble, more chaos, more difficulty? No, I want to start driving a jet rocket car to get there. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to combine the three. Challenge yourself. So we make now challenge, test, and miracles the same. Challenge yourself to be more loving, kind, and compassionate like this. So you have some envy over someone or something. If you have a Zohar, take your Zohar, start to scan. If not, just envision, meditate the light shining out of your soul. But send the light to that person, that thing, of joy for their good, happiness for their good, and greater gratitude for what you've got. Now you're turning your chaos to order. You have guilt about something you did. Scan your Zohar, acharei mot, forgiveness, send them light of apology. I'm sorry what I did. I'm sending you light to make up for whatever harm I caused you. So you're awakening light in them. If you can do it physically, I would encourage you to do that. If you can go to the face, I've done it a few times. Difficult, like nobody's business. I walked up to somebody who did me dirt. And I said, I just want to apologize. Whatever I may have done that hurt you or caused you pain, please forgive me. They looked at me like I was crazy, couldn't understand. But it was from my point of view, right? I was feeling they did something against me. Wasn't, okay, just let's leave it that way. But I knew, because I've been doing this long enough, I had to apologize. Because obviously somewhere in my past life, I must have done something to them. So let me speed up my process. Greater compassion, greater forgiveness, greater apology. So I did that. You have blame, right? You want to sit in your pity party, sit in your spiritual mud, dirt, or whatever, resenting and blaming them. Again, scan your Zohar, send them light of forgiveness. I forgive them for what they did because I must have done something similar in a past life. This guy who needled me for 20 some odd years. Okay, it took me a number of years. Towards the end, I was a little more at peace with it. Okay, this is just it. What can I do? I must have done something. Then I saw. After I began the process of forgiving him, then I had the vision, what I did to him 2,000 years ago. So I saw cause and effect. Nothing comes to us that's not our own, that we didn't send to the universe to manufacture for us. So if you're challenging yourself to be with greater love, kindness, and compassion, more forgiveness and tolerance, and the greater effort you make, the greater blessing will come in return. Right? Because it's speeding up our process. So I want to give you one story and then we'll finish and we'll do our meditation. So there was a woman years back. She was running out of money, right? She had a job, she was unemployed, so of course she's spending money, whatever, to just pay her rent, etc. She comes to the center and she meets with one of the teachers. And, she's telling her whole story. When the teacher says, I encourage you, buy a set of Zohar. How much is it? At that time, $415, the set of Zohar. She says, I've only got whatever it was, $500 in the checking account. He says, I'm just offering it. Didn't push, didn't nudge, whatever. But something obviously touched her heart and soul. And I won't tell you who the teacher was, but he was all heart. Truly just heart. So she felt. So she was willing. So think of that challenge. She got $500 to her name. And she's willing to spend $415 on a set of books. Oh, in this case, yes, there is English, right? It's Aramaic to scan in English. So she buys it, starts scanning, sending the light. Everybody should find the right job. Everybody should have prosperity, what have you. 2 weeks, she's got an amazing job. The job is training. So she's flying around the country, doing these different trainings in, different offices or whatever. And all of a sudden, after about a year and a half, she comes back to the teacher, says, what happened? I'm doing everything you said, right? Even once she got the job, she started tithing, this and this. She's doing all the right things. All of a sudden, teacher looks at her and says, I don't know. I can't tell you, but obviously it's with the light. 2 weeks later, guess what? She was supposed to be on an airplane that ended up in New York City in Manhattan inside a building. So she did not end up in that building, in that plane, because she was fired from the job. So then, was it a blessing or a curse she lost her job? You understand? Those are the things you and I are learning to understand. Not everything that looks bad is bad. You and I are learning to understand, like the Zohar says, and it was in this week's Zohar, Rav Ashlag writes it in on World Peace. There is nothing in the universe. If the Creator is good, the Zohar says, then everything is for our good. So one of the students of Rabbi Shimon says, yeah, but what about the snake? He wants to go kill the snake. And the other student said, no, you can't, because everything the Creator makes is good. And that snake, it says very clearly, the snake will not bite unless it's given a message whispered in its ear to bite that person. And then he says, but it also saves people. And there are Kabbalistic stories about how one poisonous snake was going to kill somebody, and another snake came down and killed that snake. So are they good or bad? You follow? It depends. Depends. So the message we put out, the universe will manufacture for us. So we want to make sure that what we're putting out there is what we want the universe to manufacture, what we want the Creator to create for us. Love, kindness, generosity, tolerance, prosperity, all those good things. And don't be shocked with what comes back to you. Somehow we sent out the energy, we brought it back. But let's not fall to the pity party and all the negativity and all that, the delusion. No, just pick yourself up and say, I'm a pure and perfect being of light. Let me shine more light. because then I'll make sure that what comes back to me is better and I'm not repeating the same thing over and over again. So the universe is on our side, plain and simple. And the singularity is we're all heading towards heaven on earth. And since all people are connected, because there's only one soul in this world, we're extended into 8 billion bodies, but there's only one soul. So as we're all connected, then the faster we change, the faster we're going to draw more people to also start changing. Because on a soul level, we're activating their desire to change. We're activating people to feel uncomfortable with their lack and limitation, and they come to realize it's of their own. So they'll start to change. And then the more people that we can gather together and reach what's called that critical mass, the sooner we can live in bliss, the sooner we live in peace on earth, the sooner that we can journey through and finish the journey of pain, suffering, and chaos, and we can live in that world of heaven on earth where there's just love, kindness, and compassion and eternal bliss. God bless. Okay, that's all right. So for those of you online, those of you here, right, like we said, ultimately our mission is bring more people to learn the value of these books. For those of you who are saying, wow, that's a big book, we also have this version. Right? This is just a piece of it, but it's pocket size. You can carry with you, pocket purse, your car, etc. Please make sure you have at least that. But we can't do any of this if we don't have support. And like I just explained now, yes, we could go, ideally, theoretically, go to one person and say, give us all the money we need. But like we talked about today, it's not going to work. It wouldn't work because the rest of us would just blow out. So you and I need to buck up and do a little bit more. And this is why, it's a free will offering, but whatever your heart and soul feels, and test yourself, challenge yourself. In fact, as I'm thinking about it, I didn't think of that. The only thing the Bible says, that God says, test me, God says. Everything else says, don't assume, don't sit back on your laurels. The only thing it says about testing, tithing. The Bible clearly says, test me as you tithe, if I won't open up the storehouse above and bring you abundance. So this is it. So I appreciate all your help. Those of you who are online, I'm going to paste there's the donation site for Spiritual Sunday. Goes to all the projects of the center. So those of you who are here, please hold your offering in your hand. We'll just take a moment to bless it. So we put more energy, more light in it. And then we'll do our meditation on the 72 names. So we know money is a vessel. We want to fill it with all our blessing, love, kindness, because we want the universe to manufacture more of that for us. So it's not just being generous. It's not just being spiritual. It's really understanding that inside every body on earth is a piece of my soul. And so by spreading the light, this wisdom, and the books of the Zohar, we are enlightening all those parts of our own soul that exists out there in the bodies of others, so that they'll reveal the light. With our support, our influence, we'll speed up the process of removing the darkness, removing the discord, removing the fragmentation and separation. So we inject this gift with our love, our light, our blessings, drawing the support as we put that energy into this offering of all the Kabbalists, the lineage of Kabbalists, who brought us this wisdom, this technology, to have control over our lives, speeding up this process, that we can enter heaven on earth with greater peace, love, and mercy. And again, as we put it out into the cosmos, we know the universe will manufacture more of the same for us. Together we say, Amen. So I wanted to do a meditation. Those of you who are new, what you see here to your left, this chart, is called the 72 Names of God. Here's the one we're going to use. The Hebrew letters are not a construct of humanity, they're primordial. They come from the endless world, and when they come into this world, they take on shapes like this we call the Hebrew letters. So these are just portals of the light of the Creator, simple. They're like a wiring. So it's connecting us by cable to the endless world, the endless light. Our pure self, the pure self of other people, and the endless light of absolute perfection. So you just want to let them be engraved in our mind's eye. Just look at them. The shapes allow the unique frequency. The names are Yud, Lamed, Yud, to help us let go. Let go of thinking we own things, we are the smart one, we're the capable. No, we're channels of light. The light is the power, the light is our talent and ability. Our job is to be the portal, a conduit, a channel into this world. So Yud, Lamed, Yud. Just let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye. Thinking even that just the names Yud, Lamed, Yud. Help us let go of all our darkness, chaos, and confusion. Anything that's not of our true light nature. Okay? If I can ask you to sit comfortably in your chair, hands on your lap, feet flat on the floor, taking a few deep breaths. Breathe in through the nose, hold the breath for a moment, exhale through the mouth, allowing the light force that exists in the air, which is why it's called the breath of life, allowing it to flow through, cleansing, removing some of the blockages, some of the negative thoughts, some of the limiting false beliefs we've held up to this point. Just allowing yourself to relax into the chair, focusing on the power of the light that surrounds us, that fills us. Feeling its energy, feeling the unconditional love that we are constantly wrapped in. Feeling more and more of that light within us that the Creator implanted, strengthen our desire, our motivation, commitment to express that light more intensively and more frequently. So envision above your head this name Yud, Lamed, Yud, made up of the light force particles, the DNA of our soul. See it shining. You can envision a beam of light out of the endless world that's reaching Yud, Lamed, Yud, activating this bright white light we see shining from it. Feel the intensity of the light, the vibration. Now allow this name Yud, Lamed, Yud to enter through the top of your head, that as it reaches the brain, letting the light of the Yud, Lamed, Yud take that spiritual broadcast channel called the opponent, the ego, the adversary, shutting it down, removing from your thoughts all limitations, all the false beliefs about the world, life, others, and yourself. That the true voice in your head, that is your soul, your piece of the Creator, is louder, knowing that it's speaking to you the truth about the world, life, people, and yourself. And with the Yud Lamed Yud, allow yourself to be tuned in, focusing on that voice of the light, and allowing the Yud Lamed Yud then to continue heading towards your feet, towards your toes, enlightening, activating the DNA of the Creator in every cell of your body, awakening the frequency of light that exists in every cell of your body. You can feel your aura extending. Feel a greater sense of peace and serenity. Let the Yud Lamed Yud settle in your heart. Feel it awakening, reminding you of the pure light of unconditional love that exists there. And now together we want to beam light, that light of unconditional love, out from our heart, that it breaks the walls of all the false beliefs, all the walls we've created through hurt, anger, fear, discouragement. And let that light shine out to the heart and soul of all your friends and family. Awakening a new level of the Creator's DNA inside them. And then extending this light out through them to every heart and soul on earth. Awakening the pure light beingness inside every person. And we'll envision together, as we're removing the darkness, the clouds of illusion, that we see that heaven on earth has always existed. It's here now. And we can see in our mind's eyes, we've taken away those clouds of darkness. We see the Garden of Eden. We see the world at peace. We can see the harmony and the unity and the love between all people. Engraving that feeling, that energy, that vision in our heart, soul, and mind. That it will be with us in the midst of our challenge, as we're testing ourselves, as we appreciate in the miracles around us. So let's commit ourselves to do more of these actions, let more of our light out, be the beacons of light to all humanity, speeding up the process of peace on earth with mercy. And embracing every situation that comes our way with this vision. We will act in a way that brings light to the people, to the situations, and out to the universe to manufacture greater blessings in our life. And so together we'll take one deep breath to anchor it all in, cement it in our heart, soul, and mind. And as you exhale, slowly opening your eyes. And have an amazing day and a great week. God bless.